Welcome to What's Cooking, New Ulm. I'm Rebecca Fliszar, the dietitian with the Hearts Beat Back Heart of New Ulm project, working to reduce and eventually eliminate heart attacks in our 56073 zip code. Today we're going to learn a new skill. Many people would like to know how to can, but don't know how to even start the process. So today, Karen O'Neill has invited us into her kitchen. Thanks for having us, Karen.
Thank you.
And we're going to go through the process of how to can. We're going to be making some great corn bean salsa today, and just going to go through the process. You know, so many of us have great vegetables that we have to let go bad after our gardens are through. This is a great way to utilize those vegetables and make sure we're getting those 5 vegetable servings every day, even throughout the winter. So, Karen, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your recipe, where it came from, and what we can expect from the flavor.
Basically, I just made this up with adding corn and black beans. It's just all your fresh vegetables at the end of the season, and just dice them all up, put whatever you want in, make it as hot or as mild as you like.
Okay, so how do you like it, Karen? What can we expect today?
A little bit hot.
Okay, good, good. Now you can use your different varieties of peppers, so poblanos, habaneros, those are going to be a little bit hotter. Today we've actually chose some jalapenos, which are going to have a distinct flavor. We'll still have some kick to it, but won't have the overbearing sense of heat that you'll get in some of those other peppers. So what we've already done is we've diced up quite a few tomatoes. What do we have here, Karen?
We've got 20 tomatoes, 1½ green bell peppers, 1 red onion, 2 habaneros, garlic, corn, cilantro, a little bit of vinegar, which will help in the canning process, and then we've got some black beans draining.
Great. So we've already diced up about 18 of those tomatoes. Now that was a bit time consuming, so allow yourself a little bit of time to get those all diced up. Karen's going to go ahead and finish up the dicing on these last 2 tomatoes. We also put in 1 green pepper. As Karen said, you can add pretty well whatever you'd like for these vegetables to really spice it up. So the cilantro, do you often use that in cooking, Karen, or just in your salsa?
We use it in cooking all the time. Okay. I like the flavor of cilantro. Some people don't. It's a little bit strong, but my family likes it.
Okay. Kind of a staple in salsa. It does give it that unique flavor, so something you want to keep in. If you haven't used cilantro before, make sure you try a little bit of it ahead of time before you add it into a big recipe like this to make sure that you like that.
Yep, it's really good.
Now, you dicing these up, is there a certain size or anything that we need to be watching for this?
These are going to get just a light heat on the stove, but when you can, it'll actually cook it, so it'll cook down. And I usually just leave the skins on because it's just a lot quicker than blanching them and getting the skins off.
So we don't have to worry about uniform size or anything like that?
Nope.
Okay, great.
Because it'll all get cooked down.
Okay. So what do we have to do to prepare to can? What is it that we're looking for?
For the vegetables or the canning process?
For the canning process. So how do we even start this process, or how do we go about this?
A water bath canner is the easiest to find. You can get them at Target or Walmart. I think I got mine at Walmart many years ago. And the jars come in various sizes. These are pint jars, and they come with the bands and the seals, which I have lightly boiling on the stove right now. You want to boil the seals and, boil the lids and sanitize the jars before you start.
So if we want to sanitize these jars, what do we need to do to them?
You can either do them in a dishwasher, which we just moved into this house, so I haven't tried the dishwasher method yet. Otherwise, I just keep them in hot water in the sink.
Okay. And I know you had mentioned too, Karen, that if you're going to run these in the dishwasher, you want to do those without soap, right?
Without soap.
Okay, because that's going to change your flavor and contaminate your jars just a bit, huh?
Yep, just hot water.
Okay, just hot water. Now, why are you boiling those lids?
That'll help the sealing.
Okay.
And sanitizing.
Okay, so how long do they have to boil?
They just a light boil while you're dicing and everything. Those have been on the burner now for about 10 minutes.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, so Karen's going to go ahead and add in that extra green pepper. So that's actually 2 green peppers we've added in here. We really can do it to taste, and so you're going to notice this really great color is going to start coming through. You could use other peppers as well. Remember, your yellow pepper is going to be sweeter, as is your red. Your green has a distinctive flavor. If it's something you don't enjoy, it is something that can be eliminated, but do make sure you're replacing that so we have the same consistency here in our salsa.
It's a bit of a small knife for this, but
We are using the red onion. Remember, this one doesn't have quite as strong of a poignant flavor as something like your white or your yellow, and that goes again with taste. So if you really like that onion to be the stronger flavor in this, you can change your onion variety as well. Other things that you could add into this would be scallions. That would add a different flavor as well. What other things do you think you typically would add to a salsa, Karen?
I just do the basic salsa with your onions and different variety of peppers. You could do the red or yellow peppers also.
Okay.
But I mixed it up when I added the corn and black beans, and I really like the flavor of those in the salsa too.
Good. You know, the benefit of those black beans is you're going to get some protein then in this as well. So it's also a filler. It's going to make you feel more full. You're going to eat less of it. And you do get that high fiber, high protein with no saturated fat. So this is really a great appetizer, something that you can serve pretty well anytime and help get those fruit and vegetable servings in for the day.
And when you serve it with the baked tortilla chips, that's just an added bonus.
That's right.
Instead of the fried ones.
That's right. Salsa also goes quite well with other vegetables if you want to use celery or other things. It's another way that you can incorporate vegetables into the diet as well.
Oh, there's all that.
So you have your jalapenos yet and your cilantro. Again, these are found fresh in our grocers, and any of our local grocers can pick those up. If you haven't tried them before, it is a nice way to add a different flavor to your dishes. So go ahead and venture out, try those different foods, and you might find a new staple for your pantry that you really enjoy. You can see that Karen made sure all of the seeds are out of here. Again, that's going to change the texture in your salsa, so make sure you're keeping those nice and cleaned out. Even peppers have a season. Remember, we have our big book at our grocery stores. You can go through there and you can find out which peppers and other things are in best season, what to look for, and how to choose your best jalapeno pepper. That holds true with all of the peppers in the store. So make sure you're buying them at peak growing season and buy the best ones that you can find. You're going to get the best flavor and most enjoyable salsa that you can have. Well, while Karen finishes dicing up, why don't we go ahead and check in with Holly and see what's new for Fit in 5.
Welcome to today's Fit in 5. I have Steph Dietz here with me today, and Steph and I are going to show you how you can make great strides in your fitness goals through fitness walking. The weather's getting a lot nicer out, and most of us are ready to be outside and in the fresh air, and fitness walking is a great way to do that. There's a little bit of a difference in fitness walking as opposed to your average stroll or nature hike, in that fitness walking is designed to elevate your heart rate, to improve your heart and lung function, not to mention achieve any weight loss goals that you may have. Steph is going to show us some of the great technique used when you do your fitness walking. Notice Steph's posture. She's standing up nice and tall. She actually has her abs and her back muscles engaged right now to help hold her upright and keep her spine nice and long. Her chest is lifted and her head is going to be forward. So when she's walking, she's always looking straight ahead and not down in her shoes. Her arms are going to be bent just a little less than a 90-degree angle. Her hands are cupped just slightly. We don't really want to grip the hands because that's actually going to increase our blood pressure, and that's not what we're looking for. So when Steph walks, she's going to swing her hands forward and back rather than side to side, and she's going to pump her arms with her legs. If we look at Steph's feet, we're going to notice that she's walking heel to toe. She's going to push off on the toe with every stride, and her strides are going to be short and quick as opposed to very long. We want those short, quick strides because those strides help us increase our heart rate and get the blood pumping through the body and through the heart. When we talk about how hard we should be working when we're fitness walking, we want to think about our breathing. We want to be breathing deeply, yet not panting. So if we think of it in terms of being able to breathe out of our nose through out of our mouth, we want to have to breathe in and out through our mouth. That shows us that we're working at a nice pace for fitness walking. If we can still breathe in and out through our nose, then we need to probably pick up the pace just a little bit. One thing to add, we get a lot of questions about adding hand weights in when we walk. I don't usually recommend doing that Gripping the hand weights can actually increase your blood pressure, and it can provide undue strain on your joints. So we like to just have you use you. You are the best mode of walking and your best chance at success. So just make sure to increase that pace and those little strides as you go if needed. And as always, if you're just starting a fitness routine, or it's been a while, or you have a health condition where you're under a doctor's care, always consult your physician before starting. With today's Fit in 5, this is Holly and Steph. Now back to you, Becca.
Thanks, Holly. Those are some great tips. All right, Karen, let us know where you're at and what's coming up next.
Well, first of all, we had to switch out our bowl here because we got a little bit too much stuff in it.
We went to a bigger stock pot, so be aware of the pots that you're choosing. We still need to add corn, we're adding beans, and Karen's dicing up our cilantro now. So it is a big quantity of food, and we're going to make really a lot of salsa today.
Just a rough chop on that.
The cilantro has a definite smell and flavor. You're going to know when you're cutting that.
A little bit of garlic.
Again, we always use garlic to taste, whatever you prefer. Go ahead and throw that in there.
We did some frozen corn when corn was in season, but today we've got frozen
bagged
corn.
And that's going to work just as well. You know, if you like the corn, if you like that texture, you can go ahead and add extra of that as well. The beans, again, remember those are going to be high fiber, high protein. They're going to be not containing any saturated fat.
Oops.
So now, Karen, you went ahead and you just strained those out, correct?
Yep, that was 2 cans of black beans, and I rinsed and drained them.
Okay, sounds good. So next we're moving over to the stove.
I've already got the burner on, and we're just going to do a light heat it through. There's a lot of salsa going on here. Make sure everything is stirred up. It's already looking and smelling really good.
Yeah. So tell us about this process now, Karen. We're going to go ahead and boil this down a little bit. We're going to get it softened up, right? That's what we're softening our vegetables now. And then what are we going to do? We're going to filter it into our...
Then we're going to filter it into the canning jars with the large funnel, into the wide mouth jars that we have. We've got our seals already heating up here. We're going to twist the bands on, and then we're going to stick them in the hot water canner.
Okay. So how long do we need to have them in the canner?
About 20 minutes.
20 minutes, okay.
And when you pull them out, you can hear the seals pop, and they'll be depressed a little bit, and that means that they're good and sealed.
So that's the important tip, to make sure that they're good and sealed.
Yep.
And then how long can you keep them jarred?
Well, in my house, they don't keep very long. We've already gone down to our last jar, but about a year.
A year, okay. So we're just making sure that button does not pop up. Once that is popped up, that means they've been opened, they're no longer sealed, and they're susceptible to bacteria. So once you see that seal come up, then you do have only a couple of weeks before you want to finish consuming that salsa.
And even when this is cooked down, any extras that we don't have in the canning jars, you can just stick that in the fridge and eat that right away.
Okay, great. So if we didn't want to can it, or we didn't want to keep it all winter, this is still a great salsa recipe, something that you could still make for Friday night's party if you wanted. Is that right?
A little less quantity though, but yeah.
Maybe a little less quantity, but yeah, but
this
it's still
is
a great recipe, yeah. Good. So what are we looking for here on our vegetables? How long are we going to let that set?
They should get a little bit more cooked through. It's still pretty cold on the top.
Okay. And remember that these vegetables are going to cook down again as well in the boiling process or in the canner. So it doesn't have to be thoroughly cooked through, just enough to get it heated, start to soften them up, and then we'll be ready to transfer them over.
Yep.
Great. So the heat is actually what's going to activate the sealants on this. So we want to make sure that you do come up to a full boil on those lids to make sure that they're going to seal tightly. Of everything that we go through today, I do want to stress to make sure that your button is sealed tight. Once that button pops, be aware that you're now exposed to bacteria and is no longer a tight seal. So that is really the most important thing about canning. What can you tell us about the difference between canning and pressure cooking? What do we need to know about those? Have you used pressure cookers before?
I've only used a pressure cooker for actually cooking food.
Okay.
I've never used it for canning. I haven't been that daring to try that yet. It doesn't take as long, though, as it does with the water bath canning.
Okay, so the water bath is which we're using today is a bit of a safer method. You know,
Slower,
yeah,
safer.
it's a safer but slower. So that is the difference between the pressure cooker and the canner. So
And you
good
can
information.
easily test the seals with the top of your finger because the water in the canning in the water bath doesn't go above the jar. So
Okay.
every once in a while I'll just test the seals
Okay.
with my fingertip, and if I see that they are sealed, then I know they're done and I can take them out. Otherwise, they'll pop on their own when
All
you
right.
take them out.
So the actual when you're putting your water in here, how much of this how deep do you need to fill your canner here?
Right now, it's just to about midsection of the setting ring here, and then when you put the jars filled in there, the water will raise up.
Okay, so it is important to know though not to cover your tops.
Right.
Okay, that's good information. All right, how are our vegetables coming?
They look pretty good.
While Karen continues to stir up our vegetables, I wanted to take a few minutes to share with you our new Community Health Challenge quarter. Each month we'll be focusing on a different piece of Take 5. We can have 5 fruits and vegetables. We can take 5 minutes for ourselves, or if necessary, we can lose 5 pounds. The Heart of New Ulm is here to support you in all of those actions. If there's anything that we can do to support that, that's what we're here for. We have many events going on that will help in that as well. We have chess tournaments, we have ping pong tournaments, belly dancing, we have salsa and tango classes coming here in the summer. We have a tremendous amount of activities to keep you busy. We hope to support our farmers market, start community gardens, and give you lessons on which vegetables will grow best in your soil type. There's lots of opportunities to improve your health and become heart healthy. If you have questions on any of these, please feel free to give us a call at the Heart of New Ulm office at 233-1945. All right, Karen, are we ready to switch into our jars?
Yeah, I think we can.
Okay.
They're getting a little liquidy now, showing that they're heated through.
Okay. You want to bring that to our main table?
Sure.
Great.
Let me get a...
So we just need a standard funnel is what is
this is a
required
canning
for this.
funnel.
A canning funnel. Okay,
Yeah.
good. And these can be found in the grocers, or where did you find this?
With all the canning supplies.
Okay.
So then you want to leave the 1/2 inch headspace at the top here. And what we do is just dump it in like that.
Okay. So that 1/2 inch is going to allow for the pressure inside, right? We don't want to get it too full.
Yep.
Okay.
And there will be more liquid once it's cooked down.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take your
You can see that the vegetables are softened and yet still have their same texture, so they haven't been boiled down too long. You want to make sure you don't get them too soft. Otherwise, when you're canning, you're going to notice that they're going to get almost mushy. So you want to make sure that they have some consistency when you take this off of the heat. All right, so we put our
don't
lid
twist
on.
it on too tight.
Okay.
But you want to twist it on tight. And then these are ready to go in the canner for 20 minutes.
Okay.
So should we do up some more?
Why don't we do one more? We'll get them ready to go, and then we'll get them in the canner. You know, any kind of bean can be added into this as well. Kidney beans or other things would also work in here. Again, they're great sources of fiber. They have lots of nutrients, and they're going to be a good source of protein. Oftentimes, when we're looking for protein, we can't find many foods that don't have a lot of saturated fat along with that protein. Beans are great for that, and we should incorporate them in all of our meals if possible.
And one reminder, what you want to do is make sure that the seal here is completely clean,
Okay.
that there's no liquid on there, and that there's no nicks or chips.
Okay.
Position another ring on. And then these are ready to go in the water canner.
And they just sit in there. You can see that the
And then
tops
that'll
are
just
not covered. We're looking for that water
drop down in there.
about halfway on top.
Yep. And then those will boil for about 20 minutes.
All right.
And then when they're done, you've got your jar lifter to take them out.
Okay. Well, why don't we check back in a few minutes and see how our cans are coming. All right, we're back and we've completed almost our whole salsa process.
Yep.
Now tell us a little bit about how much this made, what we have left over, and what to expect.
We got 12 pint jars out of this huge batch, and we still have a little bit left over that you could just reheat, cook it a little bit further through, stick it in the refrigerator, and eat it for dinner that night over tacos or just with some chips.
Great. So 12 pint jars. These are going to last us for a good while, and we can keep those in the fridge or the freezer. These are freezer safe jars that we did pick up. So, if you don't think you're going to eat them soon, they do tolerate the freezer as well.
Or they can sit down in the basement
On the
for
shelf.
up to the year.
Okay, good. Either way. So this is what they're going to come out looking like. You want to make sure that button is fully depressed. Remember, if it does pop, then this is something that needs to be eaten right away. Or if it's been on the shelf and your button is popped, then that's something that needs to be discarded, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we have the rest of them boiling. We're going to be pulling those out, and we're ready for some good salsa. So
Yeah.
you had mentioned serving these with baked tortilla chips.
Yep, that's the way we like it instead of the fried ones.
Good. You can add it right into your tacos or any of your other dishes as well. So now as you see how easy this is, we hope that you can too purchase a canner, grow these great vegetables in your garden this summer, and you'll have great salsa all year round. Karen, this is a great skill. It really wasn't that hard, and
Nope.
yet something that can overwhelm people. So we appreciate you taking the time and showing us how this works.
Yes, you're welcome.
All right, well, we hope to have you back soon. And that's it for this week's episode of What's Cooking, You All. We hope to see you again next week.